Hi and Assalamualaikum everyone. We are from Group 8 and we are going to present on our term paper discussing on the responsive supply chain implemented by Nike Inc. My name is Zaireen and I will talk about the responsive supply chain and the company. First, I would like to introduce you to a very famous management accounting practice, which is supply chain management. Supply chain management was practiced by many people such as the industries, academic, government, and non-government organizations. There are three basic components of the supply chain, which are inbound logistics, manufacturing process, and outbound logistics. However, there are some changes and modifications made to the model due to technological development. This is because companies will try to sustain themselves in the market by competing with other companies to supply goods and services to the customers. The customer's demand will constantly change within a short period of time. Thus, the companies need a management practice that will react quickly to the customer's demands. Therefore, a modified version of the supply chain management was created, which is the responsive supply chain model. As we can see from the slide, Dubey, Gunasekaran and Childer wrote an article in 2015. They mentioned that responsive supply chain can be defined as the ability of a supply chain network which enables the supply chain to respond to high demand uncertainties. This means that the model requires the company to respond immediately to the constantly changing market. By using the responsive supply chain model, companies can predict the customer's demand in terms of variety, regularity, budget, time to market, and demand fluctuations. Nike is one of the companies that implemented the responsive supply chain method. Nike mainly focusing on selling athletic shoes, apparel, equipment, and accessories. Besides selling the products directly to their customers through retail stores, Nike owned digital platforms to ease their customers from all around the countries around the world. Nike hires independent contractors from the United States and abroad for products such as footwear and equipment. Being an international company, Nike has 451 suppliers and approximately 75,400 employees worldwide. Therefore, Nike has to manage its supply chain wisely by using the responsive supply chain method. I will now pass the presentation to Yasmeen.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I am Yasmeen Suraya and I'll be explaining on the implementation of responsive supply chain management by Nike. So first and foremost, the fashion industry has evolved tremendously in the last 2 decades when the borders began to expand. And the competitiveness of this industry transitioned from forecasting demand and fashion trends to providing the latest fashion trends with speed. In accordance with Jean and Shin, they have distinguished a major contemporary concern in the fashion industry, which is unmatched demand. This unmatched demand stems from a traditional business model called push supply chain system, which companies produce goods based on forecasted demand and market the products for sale. This model appears to be unsustainable because, unlike other types of products, demand for apparel items is hard to anticipate. The fashion industry's primary focus right now is the development and the execution of a responsive supply chain model. So, firstly, the 3 catalysts of a responsive supply chain management consist of a value chain or a collaborative network of partners. Second, information technology, IT and systems. And third is knowledge management. The combination of these will result in a supply chain that is responsive and flexible. Since Nike is a part of the fashion industry, it has grown to become the world's leading retailer of sports footwear and apparel in the last 40 years. Nike has sought various strategies to maintain the spot, and this includes implementing a responsive supply chain model. In 2017, Eric Sprunk, Nike's Chief Operating Officer, announced on Investors' Day that the business is transforming their sophisticated global supply chain from one where a futures order was historically their signal to start supplying the market into one where consumer demand is their signal to anticipate and respond. So Nike's former model prior to the responsive supply chain is called a futures model. This futures model is similar to a traditional make-to-order strategy, which allows Nike to minimize substantial risk and uncertainty while manufacturing products. And also the prolonged lead time allows Nike to produce bulk items, decreasing production costs. But the inability to respond to short-term swings in market demand was the disadvantage, and that led to the company to adopt a responsive supply chain model that allows Nike to retain many of the benefits of the futures model but also better responding to market pull. So based on the term paper we have chosen in order for Nike to make this shift to a responsive supply chain model, it is focusing on two main ways. Firstly, the company is empowering local teams to produce products for their specific regions, widely known as nearshoring. How does Nike implement nearshoring? Nike prioritizes nearshore production to serve North America, which is the company's major consumer group and the world's largest buyer of sportswear. Nike is increasingly incorporating nearshore facilities and suppliers, for example, Turkey for the European Union and Latin America for the US market, as well as in-market sourcing into its supply chain. This allows the corporation to respond to consumer demand more quickly, introduce new products more often, and distribute them into regional markets more quickly. It has also decreased the company's reliance on a small number of worldwide factories and suppliers. And the advantage is that the company remains flexible in sourcing as the crisis keeps moving around the world, like due to COVID-19, when Chinese factories shut down, and Nike is able to be flexible since European factories remained open, and when European factories shut down, American factories remained open and Chinese factories reopened. This has decreased Nike's reliance on certain factories. And this also shows that Nike's continued focus on improving its supply chain capabilities is evident in their corporate investments into supply chain infrastructure and also research. So the second main way that Nike is implementing a responsive supply chain is they have introduced the Consumer Direct Offense, which is a program to better serve the individual by leveraging digital technologies, accelerating innovations, and also strengthening interactions. In order to improve efficiency, the program was based on the triple-double strategy. This is a strategy which Nike intends to double its speed to market, double the impact of innovation, and double its direct connections with consumers. To double innovation, Nike will accelerate the impact and cadence of new innovation platforms. As an example, over the past few months, Nike launched a cushioning revolution featuring 3 new groundbreaking platforms, which are Zoom X, Air Vapor Max, and Nike React. To double speed, Nike is on a path to cut product creation cycle times in half. And that starts with the Express Lane, which quickly creates, updates, and fulfills product in response to consumer demand. It is already operating in North America and Western Europe, but a new Express Lane will be activated in China, serving Shanghai, Seoul, and Tokyo, which are one of the world's most promising markets for sport. Lastly, to double direct connections with consumers, Nike is creating the new direct organization that will unite Nike.com, direct-to-consumer retail, and Nike digital products to enhance and expand Nike's membership experience on an increasingly global scale. Nike will also extend innovations to its strategic wholesale partners. This new approach is to spur growth in 12 significant cities across 10 countries, which are New York, London, Shanghai, Beijing, Los Angeles, Tokyo, Paris, Berlin, Mexico City, Barcelona, Seoul, and Milan. These are the cities that influence fashion around the world and where fashion trends emerge. Nike estimates that by better serving these cities through operations, merchandising, and marketing activities, these cities and their nation will account for more than 80% of Nike's expected growth through 2020. All in all, that is how Nike implements their responsive supply chain, and that is all from me. Thank you.
For the benefits of implementing responsive supply chain, there are several benefits that the company gained by implementing the responsive supply chain method. Firstly, Nike was able to increase the efficiency of the company by implementing the responsive supply chain method. This includes efficiency in terms of cost, dependability, speed, quality, and flexibility, which are incorporated through value delivery, value addition, and creativity. For example, integrated logic brings the basic advantage of more efficient operations. A large proportion of companies that practice supply chain management are attempting to integrate logistic, marketing, and operation-oriented process as compared to the other companies. As a result, determining and maintaining realistic company supply chain scope makes Nike more efficient in its supplies. Secondly, the implementation of the responsive supply chain model boosts Nike revenue and profit. The use of responsive supply chain model enhances sales by providing customers with what they need at the right time, allowing Nike to sell items with higher margin, resulting in more profit for the firm. According to Nike, a responsive supply chain may increase consumer satisfaction by delivering the right product at the right time and right place. As a consequence, Nike profitability will improve as sales and revenue increase. Lastly, one of the outcomes of Nike implementing the responsive supply chain model is being able to extend its product life cycle. The outcome of business are strongly intertwined with the strategy that has been implemented. An extended life cycle will allow a firm to reap sustainable growth and profits. Nike has taken novel approaches to develop athletic footwear, such as Nike Air Shoes, Nike Pre-Athletic shoes. The way for the brand to lead innovation and refresh their product in the market, Nike collaborates with premium designers and celebrities to elevate the brand fashion forward image and to keep their product remain relevant. This strategy has opened doors to a whole new market and also expand their product life cycle.
I will continue the presentation by explaining the challenges faced by Nike. According to Abu Shok and Karnum 2020, Nike faced 4 challenges in implementing the responsive supply chain in their company. The first one is the reaction given by their employees and managers. The changes made by Nike attracted some good and bad reactions. This is because the company has been using the traditional model for a long period of time. Thus, some of the employees and managers might resist this change. Besides that, it could also be triggered due to the employees' personal experience, motivational level, and social or demographic characteristics. Some of them might also consider it a huge risk. However, the reaction of Nike's employees and managers should not be ignored, as it will determine whether the changes will be successful or not. Thus, Nike should take action by organizing training and meetings to explain the pros and cons of the responsive supply chain model. This is to ensure that everyone in the company is aware of the benefits that could be gained by implementing the new model. The second challenge is technology limitations. As we all know, companies need to adapt to innovation and technology in order for the company to be successful in the competitive market. However, Nike was equipped with a system, such as the tools and processes practiced by the company, that is suitable for the traditional model, not the responsive supply chain model. Therefore, this system needed to be changed. The previous processes did not have the capability to make quick decisions and react to market changes. For example, it does not have the visibility to material planning or material level. Besides that, Nike's manufacturing flexibility was a challenge due to the fact that by using the traditional model, Nike was running the company with maximum capacity. Thus, it will be quite challenging for the company to switch to a new model that requires the company to fluctuate the number of goods produced quickly according to the customer's demands. Moving on, the implementation of the responsive supply chain model is considered challenging because of Nike's organization integration. This is because there is a big circle of parties involved, such as the managers, employees, buyers, and suppliers. Therefore, to implement the new system, Nike has to include everyone's acceptance. In the organization, all departments will have to change their perspectives and objectives to increase the company's profitability and sustain in the market by being more responsive towards customers' needs. If the departments do not have a good communication systems, it will affect the company by slowing down the processes. Therefore, they should be in contact with other departments and communicate their ideas and strategies with regard to the sales forecast to promote transparency across the supply chain of the company. Lastly, the implementation of the model was challenging due to the competition in the market. Nike competes with other competitors to provide and deliver the right goods to the consumer quickly. This is because competing with others is very crucial to survive and be successful in the market. The constantly changing market has pressured the companies to be responsive, and due to the fact that changing the system will slow down the company's processes, Nike will be left behind in the competition. On the other hand, consumers and customers are demanding more products faster and hoping for a quicker supply time. I will now pass the presentation to Aiman.
Although responsive supply chain adoption has received a lot of attention and adoption has been increasing for the past few years, there are still issues for Nike to consider before the strategy is implemented within any division of the company. And one of those is by how adoption of RC models will fit better with innovative products compared to functional products. In 2002, Lee's research proposed the idea of uncertainty framework, which helped managers to assess and understand demand and supply uncertainty in setting supply chain strategies. In the case of Nike, firm is operating in high demand uncertainty industry due to the nature of short selling season as consumer tastes evolve according to trend. And this industry, however, have a stable supply uncertainty which allows them to capitalize on those ever-changing consumer demands. This consideration therefore argues that Nike have used the best strategy, which is implementing a responsive supply chain network. However, note that even though Nike is operating in a highly innovative industry, there's also a degree of innovative nature for every product, hence why this can be an issue for Nike if they are to implement the strategy wholly in the company. To add on, implementation of responsive supply chain may also link to sustainability concerns due to the field Nike is operating, which is the fast fashion industry. Abdikadir and Abdikadir argue that fashion business is the world's second biggest polluter after only the petrol sector. The fashion industry has an environmental impact at every stage of the supply chain. Not only does the amount of waste sent to the landfill influence the fashion industry's carbon footprint, but carbon dioxide emissions during the manufacturing and transportation processes, as well as water pollution from dyeing processes and microfiber pollution, all contribute to the industry's massive carbon and environmental footprint, highlighting the industry's need for change. Moving on to the next part of the term paper, we would love to suggest Nike will not only maintain a great initiative on the supply chain, but also lead and encourage the industry to adopt sustainable initiatives. Kenton proposed that one of the ways is by considering the triple bottom line strategy, which consists of the three pillars of sustainability. This stands for people, planet, and profit. The first P, which stands for people, focuses on the social side of sustainability by balancing the demands of the individual with the needs of the collective. The second P, planet, contributes to environmental sustainability, which happens when processes, systems, and even activities lessen an organization facilities boost an operation's environmental effect. For the last P, profit will showcase a sustainable economic model that provides equitable distribution and effective resource utilization. While there are a lot of ways to implement green supply chain management in consideration of the 3 pillars of sustainability, one of them is through reverse logistics. The Reverse Logistics Association has defined this as any action associated to a product or service after the point of sale, with the ultimate goal of optimizing or making more efficient aftermarket processes, therefore saving money and environmental resources. In a study by Vijayan ETR, businesses profit from consumer returns not just in terms of improved quality management, waste management, increased customer happiness, and better inventory circulation, but also in terms of improved quality control, waste management, and even client satisfaction. This shows that while costs will be incurred, benefits might also be enjoyed by the firm if due diligence was made in the implementation of green supply chain management.
In conclusion, the responsive supply chain model implemented by Nike has helped them to increase their efficiency, revenue, and extend their product's life cycle. There are some challenges such as employees and management's reactions, technology limitations, organization integration, and competition in the market, but Nike has taken appropriate action and successfully tackled them. As per Islamic perspective, every Muslim must ensure that everything consumed by them is halal according to the Sharia. Halal status applies not only to products to consume, but also to lifestyle and services. Muslims should pay attention to this as it is crucial in attaining Allah's pleasure. Every company should take necessary precautions as early as the sourcing process. Besides that, halal checkpoints must be put into practice as companies need to prioritize their halal status of their businesses to uphold their market positions and to attain the blessings of Allah. Besides that, in Islam, all transactions are permitted as long as it does not contain haram or prohibited elements. Therefore, the responsive supply chain model is permitted as long as the model is free from prohibited elements mentioned in Islam. All that being said, Nike's approach in implementing the responsive supply chain model was beneficial to the company as it brings positive outcomes throughout the years. However, in this fast-growing era of modernization, there is and will be room for improvement for Nike in the future to manage their company better. That's all from us. Thank you.